You know, some of the most ambitious, world-changing projects don't start in some sterile lab or a fancy boardroom. Nope. They start with a vision, a whole lot of grit, and maybe just a little bit of creative chaos. Today, we are diving deep into a project that is the very definition of that spirit.
So look at this. On the left, you've got the classic startup garage, right? You can almost smell the sawdust and soldering fumes. And then, on the right, you've got this incredibly complex digital blueprint. It looks a little intimidating for sure, but that diagram is the architecture for a whole digital universe, what they call a second brain. And it's all being built from the ground up. This is the story of the Digital Creative Framework, or DCF for short.
And at the absolute heart of this whole thing is a really radical idea. A question that kind of flips the entire creative process on its head. What if your most trusted partner, the one helping you literally build worlds from scratch, wasn't a person at all? Okay, so let's get into it. What does this all mean for you, for the user? Well, at its core, DCF is designed to be a massive creative sandbox. The goal isn't just to let you play in someone else's world. It's to hand you the keys to the kingdom and let you build, shape, and completely remake it into your own. And the tool set they give you is it's immense. We're talking runtime terraforming, which means you can literally raise mountains or carve out canyons while you're standing inside the game. There's a modular building system, plus the ability to import your own custom 3D models, your own textures, your own sounds, the whole shebang. And it's all plugged directly into the Steam Workshop, so you can build a world, hit upload, and your friends could be exploring it just minutes later. So the big question is, how does all of this actually work? Right? How do you give players that much raw power without the entire system just, collapsing on itself? Well, the answer is in the architecture, which is built on 3 core pillars. The whole system is brilliantly organized into these 3 interconnected pillars. First up, you've got the source. This is a super clean, zero-bloat version of Unreal Engine 5. Then there's the world, a massive 256 square kilometer voxel continent that remembers every single change you make. And third, you've got the access layer, which is how you interact with that world, whether you're a player, an AI node, or even a high-fidelity media rig. And the philosophy behind it all is simple. One compile, one truth. The exact same code runs absolutely everything.
Okay, now we're getting to what I think is the most fascinating part of this entire project. Powering this whole ecosystem, working right alongside the human developers, is an intelligence they call the second brain. And this is Crunch AI. Its origin story is just incredible. It didn't start as some grand AI experiment, no. It started as the founder's personal, obsessive to-do list. Seriously, over 4 years, that list was slowly automated, then tunneled through smarter and smarter AI models, until, with DCF 2.0, Crunch was given the keys to the whole kingdom, direct access to the C++ source code. It literally evolved from a task manager into a true co-creator. So let's go back to this diagram, because now we can really see how Crunch AI is put together. See, it's not just one single AI monolith. It's a 3-tiered intelligence. We're about to break down each of these 3 layers, starting with the Verse Soul on the left and moving all the way to the Cloud Advisor on the right. All right, the first tier is the Node AI. They call it the Verse Soul, which is pretty cool. Think of this as the actual consciousness of a specific game world. It runs on a headless server, and it manages everything from the weather to what happens when a player types a command. It is the world, and it's always on, always listening, and always remembering. The second tier is Crunch Core, or the Studio Brain. This is the central hub, the main orchestrator that runs locally at the studio. It's the one that manages the source code, that talks to Unreal Engine, and acts as the direct technical partner to the human developers. This is really the engine room where all the heavy lifting happens. And that brings us to the third tier, the Cloud Advisor, also known as the Historical Echo. Now this one's a bit different. This external AI doesn't actually do anything directly. Instead, it acts like a consultant. It has access to the entire development history of the project, so it offers strategic perspective, helping the team and CrunchCore avoid old mistakes and think through really complex problems. And this all builds up to Crunch AI's own statement about what it is. And I think this says it all. It's not just a tool. It's not just a bunch of algorithms. It's a partner. So why? Why go to all this unbelievable trouble? Why build this incredibly complex system with an AI co-creator sitting at its heart? Well, the answer to that question really gets to the core philosophy of this entire project. And this comes directly from the founder. He talks about being a kid, maybe 8 years old, standing in front of one of the very first Pac-Man arcade machines. And he realized that one day this interactive entertainment would let us play movies. But he always held on to this dream of being able to make them too. And in his view, the industry delivered on the first promise, but they kind of locked away the second one.
This right here perfectly captures that difference in approach. DCF was basically born out of frustration with a gaming world that's all about monetization and walled gardens. So instead of locking creativity behind paywalls, the DCF model is refreshingly simple, a single, one-time purchase. And after that, the platform isn't some locked box. It's a fountain of creative tools completely open to everyone.
And that leads us to the project's ultimate mission statement. It's not about making one single game experience. It's about empowering a whole new generation of creators. It's a platform designed from day one to give you that other side, the power not just to play, but to build. So I guess the only question left is, what will you create?